try probably number 4 at this point. I've had 2 really good articulate videos that have just disappeared because my camera and internet at different points decided to die on me. Awesome. So, I think that my video response from yesterday really led into, really started to get me reflecting before even reading the Highland article about where I see my role as a teacher and how I perceive myself as a teacher moving forward, to become that culturally relevant and responsive teacher and creating a culturally responsive classroom. As far as the question about who in the Highland article I saw most of my own practices in, I think it would have to be Maisie. And I think that's for a variety of reasons. I think because of my interest and study in feminist and gender studies, I'm very aware of even little things that can be really, really problematic. And so that awareness of intersectionality in feminism and feminisms really makes me realize, like, intersectionality is not something that is specific to feminism, but it's something that ties with whatever. So, we have intersectionality between race and poverty, that certain teachers in the study chose to ignore. Like, I think it was Sylvie that chose to ignore the intersections between race and poverty. But I think between Maisie's incredibly self-reflective practices and her advocacy for students, I think that is something that I definitely try to bring to the table. And it's hard when you're a white teacher teaching a group of white students about how do you approach those issues of cultural misappropriation or institutionalized racism or the historical context and the influence that language has on power structures and things like that. So I think I'm most like Maisie because I'm not like Pam. The whole idea of that white savior concept just makes my stomach turn because it's so wrong. But the thing that I noticed with a lot of the teachers in this study was that they were really feeding into that learned helplessness of their students of minority races. And so, under the guise of being like, I'm trying to do everything for all of my students, and I'm colorblind, but the fact that they really dumbed things down for their students, I think, really contributes to that learned helplessness thing. The other thing that I think I really connect with Maisie with is that as part of her self-reflection, she really thinks about her perceptions and what she's bringing to the table, and maybe she wouldn't have sent a brand new kid down to the principal's office for rolling his eyes if he was white, but at least she's thinking about it, whereas Sylvie's taken on this idea that identity and race is something that you can pick and choose what you connect with. And yeah, great for Sylvie, she could pass as white, but it alienated her students in the process. So I really started thinking about those, and it was really tough to read about the institutionalized racism and colorblindness and things like that, because they're issues I'd thought about, but not really in the depth that I did, and especially with our discussion about proxy words and realizing that there's so much coded in how we describe the students that we work with, and how other teachers describe their school populations. But I wanted to touch base really quickly about some cultural misappropriation because I started thinking about that more and more, and I think I come from a pretty interesting situation of cultural misappropriation, or at least how I perceive it. The high school that I attended and the high school that I did my student teaching at are very, very similar. They're serving white, middle-class, suburban kids, high academic rigor, high graduation rates, vast majority of the students going on to college. But the similarities between the schools don't necessarily end there. My high school that I attended was Arapahoe High School, and we were the Arapahoe Warriors, named after the Arapahoe Native American tribe, and we are actually, as of the last time I checked, which was about last year, still the only high school in the country who was named after a Native American group of people and had a relationship with the tribe that we were named after. And part of what that relationship did was, even though we were a school of predominantly white kids, I think the relationship that we developed with, that the principal started to develop in the 90s with the tribe, and that we maintained, really helped kind of lessen cultural misappropriation. We didn't have a mascot. We had a logo that was drawn for us by a tribal artist. No students ever dressed up as a warrior out of respect. Every other year, the members of the tribe would come down to our high school and perform a ceremony and spend the day teaching us about their experiences and their culture. And then starting my junior year of high school, we started sending representatives from our school up to the reservation in Wyoming to learn about their experiences there and share our experiences with them. So it was a reciprocal relationship, and I learned so much about them and about our culture and things like that by sharing it with and having really candid, open dialogues. And it's gotten to the point where every year at our graduation, at the high school's graduation, elders from the tribe come down and give a keynote speech and really talk about the importance of community, specifically of members of my high school being considered part of their community and vice versa, which is really cool, and it's a really unique experience. However, the school that I student taught at, they were the Indians, not affiliated with any tribe, at all, as far as I could tell. And I had a lot of issues with seeing cultural misappropriation happening there. The biggest one that I noticed, and I know that there were others, I just didn't attend the events that the other events of cultural misappropriation were happening, but the one that stands out to me because I saw it firsthand and it really did not sit well with me, was at the homecoming football game. There was a male and a female student, and they were dressed in, frankly, very stereotypical, offensive Native American outfits. And the school just didn't have a connection, or didn't try to institute a connection to really learn about the culture, but really just kind of misappropriated the mascot, the name, and things like that, and it just didn't sit well with me, and I just wanted to wanted to throw that out there. But I'll stop now, hoping it uploads.